Good afternoon, welcome to VANIK-IAS. We will start discussing current affairs of 18th March. So, first topic is international developments. Bhutan's graduation from Union list of least developed countries. Right. We are taking it with lot of honor and pride. We are not nervous, said Bhutanese Prime Minister Lope Sering at the United Nations Least Developed Country LDC Summit that concluded recently in Doha, Qatar. So it is important. This summit LDC countries, least developed countries, it means also you can mention these countries or this short form LDC. LDC summit, it concluded at Doha, Qatar. It's a prelims fact. You must remember remember it as well. Okay. The landlocked Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan will no longer be on the list of LDC. It's a landlocked country. Bhutan is a landlocked country. Landlocked country means no access to sea, right? Landlocked country means no access to sea, right? It will become only the seventh country to graduate from the list. Seventh country to graduate from the list, so it will no longer in the list of LDC, least developed countries. Least developed countries. So it is. That's right. So it's a symbol of development, right? What the UN list of What is the UN list of least developed countries? In 1960s, began to recognize some of the most vulnerable and disadvantaged countries in the international community. Most vulnerable and disadvantaged country. Considering the factors that such development capacity, socio-economic parameters, lack of domestic financing, geographical location, socio-economic parameters, 1971 UN officially established the category of LDC to attract particular support from them. While geographical location is important so far as your economic condition is concerned. Geographical condition is very important. Based on geography, you will earn money. Suppose a particular country do not have access to sea, right? Then trade will not flourish. Trade will not flourish in those areas where there is no access to sea. Access to sea also decide your strategy, how your country is important strategically, right? For example, the presence of India in Indian Ocean, that makes it significant because it can control the maritime security in Indian Ocean or in Indo-Pacific region. So similarly, if Pakistan is important, why Pakistan is important in world politics? Why USA is not taking strong action against Pakistan? The reason is that Pakistan is a country which is linked to sea. It's Arabian Sea. It has access to Arabian Sea. There is a Gadar port, right? And also it is linked. It is associated with India, China. It has access to the Central Asia, then West Asia. That's why it is important. So based on geographical location, Pakistan is the heart of Asia. You can say Afghanistan is called the heart of Asia, but Pakistan is like the central of world politics, because just above Pakistan in the north we have Central Asia. Pakistan is a big factor regarding the collapse of USSR. Pakistan is controlling Afghanistan because it has border. It has also border with Iran, that is West Asia. It has border with China, the second largest economic power of the world. It has border with India. It has border with the Arabian Sea. That's why Pakistan is relevant. That's why Pakistan has good relationship with all the P5 countries. Right? All the P5 countries means USA, Russia, UK, France, and nobody is taking strong action on Pakistan despite the huge presence of terrorism. So the economic situation of a particular country highly depends on its geographical location. Next is domestic financing. Domestic financing means how many domestic capitalists are there, whether capitalism has, flourished in a particular region or not. That depends on the economic growth of a society, of a particular country. Socio-economic parameters. For example, Bhutan. Why Bhutan was for so many years it was least developed, despite it being a small country. Why it was? Because Bhutan do not pursue aggressive economic development or infrastructure development. They give primacy to environment, peace, right? Environment and peace. So when you give primacy to environment, you will not damage the natural resources, or you will not work in the direction in which huge infrastructure development will be made. Many times Pakistan, Bhutan is reluctant for infrastructure development, like for example BBIL, right? Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Nepal corridor. They are reluctant. Why they are reluctant? Because that will damage the environment of Bhutan. So because of various reasons, it was for a long time it was least developed country. Now it is coming out of that criteria. That least developed country, which is began in 1960s. Currently, 46 countries across Africa, Asia, Caribbean, and Pacific are categorized as LDC. LDC hosts about 40% of the world's world poor. It accounts for 13% of world population, but only 1.3% of global gross domestic product. Less than 1% of global trade and foreign direct investment. Some countries of LDC are Bahrain, Faso, Senegal, Rwanda, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Solomon Islands, Haiti. These are LDC countries. India is regarded as the leader of the lower developed LDC countries because it is heading NAM. LDCs typically rely on agrarian economies, which can subsequently affect vicious cycle of low productivity and low investment, especially as wealthier countries develop and utilize more productive farming technologies. Wealthier countries develop and utilize more productive farming technologies. Generally, LDC rely on free primary commodities as major source of exports and fiscal earning, causing them to be vulnerable to external terms of trade. Due to their geographies, some are more vulnerable to climate disasters or are landlocked, making maritime trade less feasible. Right? Their primary commodities LDC rely on three primary commodities. Primary commodity means, for example, your agricultural productivity, seed productivity, or mines. These are primary commodity. As a result, as major source of export and fiscal earning. Major source of export and fiscal earning, causing them to be vulnerable to external terms of trade shocks. External terms of trade shocks means, suppose the protectionism that is developed by some countries like European Union and USA. Protectionism, when you have so many rules of trade that your product will not be sold outside, right? So they only sells primary commodities like mining products or agricultural products. They are not able to sell manufacturing product, because to sell manufacturing product, your product must be competitive in world market. That means it should be of high quality, it should be of high technology. Usually low developed countries, LDC countries, they don't have a huge amount of money to invest in research and development. So the quality of the products are not good. That's why they only rely on the primary commodities. Countries classified as LDC are entitled to preferential market access, aid, and technological capability building, special technical assistance, among other concessions and international support measures. So it is the responsibility of world governance, the global governance institutions to reduce the inequality among the developed and developed countries in the LDCs. That's why they should be given to preferential market access. Preferential market access means the rules and regulations, the barriers, trade barriers that must be reduced. The taxes must be reduced so that their product will be competitive. Aid need to be given, aid for development, right? For example, India is giving aid to Bhutan, right? China is giving aid to Bhutan. So they receive aid from the developed countries, right, to gain their loyalty or support. Technological capability building, technology transfer, right? It is one dimension of bilateral relationship. Suppose India and Russia have strong relationships with respect to technology transfer. Similarly, Bhutan or these small countries, they have strong relationship with the good. Usually, they depend on the technology transfer because it will take a long time for them to build technology. Special training, technical assistance, that is skilled manpower, also supply of skilled manpower for operation, among other concessions and international support measures. So international community, they provide support to the low developed countries, LDC countries. Inclusion and graduation from LDC category based on three criteria. What are the three criteria? That depends on LDC and that on which LDC is based, which is very important for prelims. One is gross national income, GNI per capita, Human Assets Index HAI, measuring health and education outcomes, and Economic and Environmental Vulnerability Index, Economic and Environmental Vulnerability Index EVI. Why it is important? Despite you have suppose potential of gross national income, natural disasters, they cause a huge economic loss to many countries. So environmental vulnerability is also one of the major factor for social distress. Major factor for social distress. Right. However, there is no authentic application process for the graduation from the list. The UN Committee for Development Policy, to be included in the list, a country must have an average per capita income of below $1,018, have low HAI scores, that is the Human Assets Index scores, and EVI levels measured in terms of remoteness, dependence on agriculture, vulnerability, and natural disasters. Dependence on agriculture, right? If a country majority populations are dependent on agriculture, then it cannot be a developed country or industrialized country, because majority of the profit is got by industries or the service sector. So only industrialized countries like Western, for example, after globalization, we witnessed that the Western Europe, especially the USA or Western Europe, it has emerged as the strongest economic powers in the world economy, and because they shifted aggressive industrialization from the agricultural mode of development. So if today's China has emerged as second largest global economy, it is because of it has a huge manufacturing sector, right? Just tungsten technology. They have a huge manufacturing sector. They can produce cheap goods. So when dependence on agriculture reduces, that translate to high economic development. However, there is no automatic application process for graduation from the list. The UN Committee for Development Policy (CDP) conducts a review of LDC every 3 years, and the country that reach the graduation threshold levels for 2 and 3 criteria in 2 consecutive triennial reviews becomes eligible. So, in every 3 years they verify it, and if any countries move off to above 2 or 3 criteria in consecutive triennial reviews, they become. So, in 6 years it will be decided whether a particular country will remain under LDC category or not. An exception, a country whose per capita income is sustainability above the income only. graduation threshold set at twice the graduation set threshold. For example, only if a country has $2,444 per capita, then they can also graduate from the threshold, become eligible for graduation. Only if the one income, only income if it is calculated, so minimum it is $2,444 is required. After CPD recommends graduation for an LDC preparatory period of 3 years or more in exceptional cases is prescribed, through which continue to receive benefits and assistance, after which it is phased out. So for 3 years it continues to receive. So all those benefits that is given to low developed countries or LDCs, even a person qualify that level, still it gets the benefits for 3 years. The list of LDC in 1981 was 51 countries. So far only 6 countries, namely Botswana, Cabo Verde, Maldives, Samoa, Equatorial Guinea, Vanuatu have managed to graduate from the list. Bhutan has recommended for graduation in 2018 and due to move out of the list in 2023. So in 2023 it is expected to move out. Next, how did Bhutan qualify for graduation from the list? Bhutan is a landlocked Asian kingdom in Himalayas, often known as happiest country. Happiness is the biggest objective of the Bhutanese people and Bhutanese politics. Hydroelectric power production, agriculture, forestry, tourism are mainstays of the economy. Right? They are dependent on tourism, forestry, agriculture, and hydroelectric power production. Because of the big rivers, there is huge potential for hydroelectric production. Hydroelectric power production. One of the 9 Asian nations in the LDC list, Bhutan saw robust economic growth over the decade from 2010 to 2019, with more than 5% average annual GDP growth. The country meets all graduation criteria and continues to make steady progress on GNI and HAI. Steady progress on gross national income and HAI. The period of growth and stability has translated into significant drop in poverty, as the number of people living on less than $3.2 per day has dropped from 36% to 12%. So the poverty has reduced significantly. The GNI stands at $2,982 and HAI at 7.79.5, while the graduation threshold is 66 and above. Its economic and environmental vulnerability levels have decreased by 25.7%. Right? How can you reduce your environmental vulnerability? By developing many adaptation measures, by developing various technologies. Suppose you are expecting that there is going to be a earthquake or similar type of, you are creating earthquake sustainable agriculture, sustainable infrastructure, so that it will not be broken, or seismic, by you are using various mechanisms to identify if there is any threat is going to happen. By these things you can reduce the environmental vulnerability. So various economic measures like hydroelectric power production, infrastructure development, forestry and tourism, that ultimately led to the growth and stability of Bhutan. One unique feature of Bhutan development journey highlighted by United Nations, World Bank and World Economic Forum has been the National Happiness Indicator as a growth. They have used national happiness as indicator of growth. Happiness is the biggest objective. The phrase gross national happiness was first coined in 1972 by 4th King of Bhutan, King Jigme Singye Wangchuk, when he declared that gross national happiness is more important than gross domestic product. It is a concept given by King Jigme Singye Wangchuk. He said in 1972 he has given a phrase that is gross national happiness. Gross national happiness is more important than gross domestic product. The concept envisages from sustainable development. It envisages sustainable development. That means development without hampering the environment, right? Which takes a holistic approach towards notions progress, giving importance to non-economic aspects of well-being. The GNH index includes traditional areas of socio-economic concerns such as living standards, health, education, less traditional aspects like culture, psychological well-being, right? So health and education. So the government is focusing on living standards rather than the infrastructure, right? Rather than the infrastructure, the priority is living standards, the priority is health, the priority is education, and traditional well-beings like development of culture. How can you ensure psychological well-being? Psychological well-being is manifested, or psychological well-being is enforced by, for example, various social security measures. Nobody is facing the problems of poverty, for example, or the problems of poverty or problems of malnutrition, from various type of diseases, deprivations of a house. So these things are the priority, right? So that is the first priority. At least living standard, the basic living standards like nutritious food and a good health and sanitation, and studies celebrating the culture. All these things are the parameters of social security, are the parameters of social well-being. The country's constitution mandates that a minimum 60% of voters' total land remain under forest cover at a given time. Constitution, only 60% of Bhutan's land remain under the forest cover at any given time. The country has exceeded that threshold. The UNDP Human Development Index, which ranks Bhutan as highest among the least developed peers for overall human development, notes that Bhutan has total forest area of 72.5%, owing to low carbon emissions, high level of carbon sequestration, and export of hydroelectricity. Bhutan is the only carbon negative country in the world. Only carbon negative country in the world. It is not carbon neutral. When our emission is equal to carbon, when our carbon emission is equal to carbon absorption, then it is carbon neutrality. India has the objective of achieving carbon neutrality by 2070, which we have promised in Paris Climate Deal. But then that neutrality, but it is already, Bhutan is already a carbon negative country. It is already carbon negative country, means it is absorbing more carbon from the atmosphere than it produces, right? We have a total forest, in India we have a total forest cover of 24% of the total geographical area. For sustainable development, at least it should be 33%. But in case of Nepal, it is around 72%. So it is very, very big. It's very high in case of Nepal. Sorry, Bhutan has developed niche markets from traditional products. Despite being landlocked, integrated sustainability development plans, invested in digital infrastructure, making the internet both accessible and affordable. It launches Thimphu Tech Park in 2012, which houses 19 most foreign companies and employs for around 600 people. The mountain nation also achieved 100% access to electricity. Further, it has engaged in innovating targeting financing. For example, Bhutan mobilized $12 million impact investment for mountain hazelnuts. A social enterprise encourages hazelnut production, contracting smallholders, farmers across the country. So this is about Bhutan's economy. What are the challenges? Bhutan's export concentration remains very high, and the economy is centered around hydropower, tourism services, mining sector. Despite recent efforts of diversification, so economy need to be diversified. It cannot be solely based on tourism sector or hydropower, right? Concentration remains extremely high. Export market concentration remains extremely high, with more than 80% being destined for India. It's large export market. Moreover, World Economic Forum holder Bhutan's graduation from LDC will result in erosion of preferential treatment, making export diversification to larger markets such as European is challenging. Earlier it was getting the preferential treatment, now it will not get preferential treatment. So it will be very challenging for the Bhutan products to be competitive in world market, especially in the European Union. Besides, Bhutan's size is also stated that its impediments to economic development is very small. The very small size domestic market, scattered pockets of production. Right, that means there is no unified production. Scattered pockets of production. That means how can you connect? When it is unified, you can connect those areas. When it is scattered, it will be very difficult to reduce the transport expenditures. So, together with the Himalayan landlocked geography, subsequent high trade costs may hamper Bhutan's effort to competitive in global market, especially as a large-scale producer. Why do so many waste-to-energy plants fail? The Kerala government recently announced that the state's first waste-to-energy project in Kozhikode. The plant facility is expected to be built in 2 years and generate about 6 megawatt power. There are 100 waste to energy projects, right, around the country. Only a handful of them are operational. That is a problem. So we have to consider about now waste management. Waste processing infrastructure is very good way to deal with the mountains of waste that Indian cities produced, but such projects need unwavering support of the municipality, its resident and the state. So support from the state is highly essential, or the municipality is highly essential. Around 100 waste to energy projects are there, but few of them are operational. Kerala government is starting fast waste to energy project, and 6 megawatt power will be generated from waste. In every urban areas, especially in the cities, you may see in the areas of Delhi. In the areas of Delhi, you would see such type of structure, mountains of waste. Mountains of waste. Right. Landfills, they are also called as landfills. Generally, solid waste in India is 55 to 60% of biodegradable organic waste, which can be converted into organic compost or biogas. 25 to 30% of non-biodegradable dry waste, around 15% silt, stones and drain waste. So 60% biodegradable organic waste. This can be converted into organic compost, right, or biogas. Rest are dry waste. So around rest 40% they constitute dry waste and silt, stones, drain waste, all these things. Of the non-biodegradable dry waste, only 2 to 3%, only hard plastic, metals and e-waste is recyclable. Only 2 to 3%. Hard plastics, metals and e-waste is recyclable. The remainder consists of low-grade plastic, rags, cloth that cannot be recycled. This fraction of non-recyclable dry waste is most challenging portion of the present SWM system. The presence of these materials also reduces the efficiency of recycling other dry and wet waste. Waste to energy plants. use this portion to generate power. The waste is combusted to generate heat, which is converted into electricity. Waste to energy plants in major cities could also consume a portion of non-cyclable dry waste generated in the urban local bodies nearby. So these plants, they can, those dry waste which cannot be not cycling, which cannot be cyclable or cannot be turned into compost or biogas, they can be brought by the from the urban local bodies by the waste to energy plants. We have to develop strong technology regarding the sewage management. That is a big problem of urbanization. Huge amount of people, when high density of people will be concentrated in a particular area, huge amount of wastes are generated. It is very difficult, and we do not have that sufficient advanced level of technology or capacity of infrastructure, so that we can, so that India can recycle the huge amount of waste. Okay. What is the Kozhikode project? Kozhikode project total quantity of municipal solid waste generated in Kerala is approximately 8,000 tons per day. Out of this, 3,700 TPD is generated by the state, 93 urban local bodies. Kozhikode has a population of 6.3 lakhs, generates approximately ton per day, right? TPD 300 tons. Kozhikode is generated 300. Around 205 TPD is biodegradable and 95 tons per day is non-biodegradable. The municipality is currently managing the biodegradable material to generate organic compost in various composting plants. The centralized composting plant in Jeliam Paramba process 100 tons of biodegradable waste to generate the organic compost. So organic compost is it is creating around 100 tons of biodegradable waste. But of the non-biodegradable waste, that is only about 5 tons per day out of but the non-biodegradable waste, that is around 5 tons per day out of 95 is recycled. Only 5% is recycled. So 90% is not recycled. The remaining non-recyclable dry waste could be used to generate power at the waste to energy plant. So waste to energy plant, this especially converts the non-biodegradable, non-recyclable dry waste to energy. While waste to energy plants seem like a simple solution, they have several challenges. And first is low caloric value of solid waste in India due to improper segregation. First thing, segregation is not done properly by the households. That is the organic waste and the inorganic waste that need to be segregated. The caloric value of mixed Indian waste is about 1500 calories per kg, which is not suitable for power generation. Coal's caloric value is around 8000 calories per kg. Biodegradable waste has high moisture content, can't be used for power generation. It should be composted instead. So from biodegradable we cannot create energy from biodegradable waste because the caloric value is very less. The caloric value of segregated dried non-recyclable dry waste is much higher. Dried non-recyclable dry waste is much higher, around 2800 to 3000 kilocalorie per kg, sufficient to generate power. That's why rather than going for the non-recyclable dry waste, the organic bio waste, we are focusing more on the non recycled dry waste. The high cost of energy production. The cost of energy power from waste is around 7 to 8% per unit. The cost which the state's electricity boards bought power from well hydro is solar around 3 to 4 per unit. So even if you are producing the electricity, the cost is very high. So when it is not affordable, who will purchase the power? It must be affordable. Okay. While state electricity boards are considering the purchasing power from newer renewable energy sources like waste to energy, the price of the power generated needs to halve. To make it halve, we don't have the technology. Third, many waste to energy projects have failed because improper assessments, high expectations, improper characterization studies, and other unknown conditions. Because of improper assessments, the quality of waste generated by cities varies due to multiple factors, including season, rainfall, and floating population. Importantly, waste to energy projects can consume only non-recyclable dry waste, which is about 25% of the waste. They are expected to be only use segregated non-recyclable dry waste as well, which is the only type of waste with sufficient high caloric value. But in reality, these projects are often expected to manage all types of waste generated in the city, which is bad, which is only bad for the projects. So we cannot use all the type of energies, all the type of waste, because that cannot be efficient. It cannot provide efficiency. Okay. So for multiple reasons, season, rainfall, floating population, waste to energy projects are consume only non-recyclable dry waste. So segregation, all these are the issues, challenges regarding the how can we overcome the challenge. Conjugate project population to waste generation rate could avail up to 100 ton per day of non-recycled waste to generate power. So they can provide 100 ton per day. The proposed plant could absorb another 40 to 50 tons of waste from nearby urban local bodies. But this quantity of metal around 100 ton per day will be available only when people follow district segregation practices and also process the biodegradable waste. You have to process the biodegradable waste and also you have to segregate practices. Right? People must segregate the practices. Typically, waste to energy projects consume 50 TPD of material to generate 1 megawatt of power. At this rate, potential to generate power from Kozhikode, the other ULB waste is around 3 megawatt. A higher capacity than this, such as plant 6 megawatt, will be risky because enough material may not be available. Operating waste to energy projects also depend parameters like municipal collection efficiency, waste segregation, moisture content, operational efficiency of existing biodegradable waste processing plants. If these plants have operational woes, for example, the nature of waste will change drastically and have moisture content and low caloric value, which will compromise the power generation. So there are various challenges regarding the power generation from the waste to energy plants. So setting of waste to energy projects is complex. We need full support from the municipality. Initial support is required from the municipality. The state and the people, overcome various challenges, the municipality must ensure that non-biodegradable dry waste is sent to the plant and separately manage the other kinds of the waste. Other kinds of waste means some of the waste will be also generated from the waste energy from the waste to energy plant. Importantly, municipal and department responsible for SDM should be practical, right, about the high cost of power generation in include state capability department, perhaps the tripartite agreement between municipality, plant operator, and power distribution agency. It is also crucial to conduct studies to learn from the experience of the other projects. Without all this effort, the project may not be a success, but which in turn will stress the state government to manage the accumulated waste, which can be costly mistake. Okay, so now some prelims facts. Atal Bayu Abhyuday Yojana. What is Atal Bayu Abhyuday Yojana? Minister of State of Social Justice and Empowerment started at Rajya Sabha. Social Justice and Empowerment is implementing Atal Bayu Abhyuday Yojana for senior citizens. It is for senior citizens. Population of senior citizen is 3.3 crore, that is 8.6% of the total population. National Policy of Older Population mentioned the state government should provide support to ensure financial and food security, healthcare, shelter, protection, other needs of older person. Department of Social Justice and Empowerment under umbrella scheme, that is Atal Bayu Abhyuday Yojana, is implementing various welfare schemes, for example, for improving living standards of senior citizens. Improving living standards of senior citizens. The main objective of the scheme is to enhance the quality of life of senior citizens. Objective is to enhance the quality of life of senior citizens by providing them necessities like shelter, food, medical attention, and recreational opportunities, entertainment opportunities. It also aims to promote productive and active aging by supporting development of the capacity of state and unity governments, NGOs, panchayat institutions, local bodies, and community at large. NGOs, panchayat organization, local bodies, and community at large. A grant in aid is given to NGOs and voluntary organization BOs under Atal Bayu Abhyuday Yojana. NGOs and voluntary organizations, they are given for operation and maintenance of senior citizen homes, old age homes, continuous care homes, and elderly destitute residents. These houses receive free services such as housing, food, medical treatment, and other facilities. The department has established project monitoring unit (PMO) to keep track on the projects receive grants, and yet the PMO supervisors visit these sites to evaluate their effectiveness. The organization in charge of the project is given chance to defend its position. If the PMO issues an unfavorable report, right? Project is given chance to defend its position. If they get, for example, in case of there is a project monitoring unit, they will monitor whether this is implemented properly or not. Or the destitute senior citizens, those who are thrown out of their house or they left the house destitutes, they need to be protected or given the basic amenities. The department has evaluated NGOs. The department has evaluated NGO's response, and if it is deemed unsatisfactory, the project is terminated. Right? If a particular NGO is not providing proper services to the senior citizens, then they will be terminated. Other welfare schemes for senior citizens: integrated program for senior citizens (IPSRC), under which grants in aid are given to registered societies. Panchayat institutions and local bodies, and this is also given. Running, maintaining senior citizens homes, care, mobile medical units. Each state is expected to plan its own action plan for welfare of senior citizens. The state action plan may comprise long-term strategy of 5 years as well as annual action plans. Department of Social Justice and Empowerment release funds to the states for formulation and implementation of the state action plans. So every state will have different action plans to deal with the senior citizens, providing them basic cares. Okay. राष्ट्रीय Yojana. It's a central sector scheme funded by for senior citizen welfare fund. Under the scheme, aid and assisted living conditions are given who earn less than 15,000 per month and suffer from age-related disabilities. The aids, the aids and assisted devices provided eligible beneficiaries. Free of cost is given to them. The scheme is being implemented by the Artificial Limbs Manufacturing Corporation of India, which is public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, livelihood skilling initiative of senior citizens. It aims to support the efforts of senior citizens by providing them with opportunities to enhance their earnings and sense of self-respect. So now we'll discuss the. See, this is one main question. RBI had put in place several policy measures to ensure that Indian banks regarding further steps taken by the RBI fiscal stability report. Because in such a situation, many of the American banks are getting shut down. Okay. Prompt corrective action framework, PCA framework, capital adequacy ratio, all these things, NPA, then DSIBs, right? Systematically important banks, all these things measures are taken by RBI. Try to write this answer. Now we'll see the prelims questions with reference to H3N2 infection. Now H3N2 infection it is being prevalent. Okay. So what is this H2N2 infection? WHO recommends WHO recommends using oseltamivir, Tamil flu for H3N2 infection. A sale of oseltamivir in India is allowed under Schedule H1 of Drugs and Domestic Act of 1940. So both the statements are correct with respect to the following statements. Oseltamivir. What is this H3N2? See, there are various type of influenza viruses, A, B, C, D, various type of influenza viruses. And H3N2 is one of H3N2 is influenza A type. A type is H3N2. Right? It is known as swine fluenza viruses. Swine fluenza viruses. Right? And another thing is that H3 is a non-human influenza virus that normally circulates in pigs and that has infected humans. Circulate in pigs. Among pigs and infect human. Okay. It is detected in 2000. Detected in 2011. Okay. So they said that this is H3N2. Next is what is Zojila. Where is Zojila? Zojila, it presented in the Karel district. Okay. First statement is It is known as mountains past or mountain pass of blizzards. Mountain pass of blizzards. The pass links Leh and Himachal Pradesh. No, this is wrong. Jojila Pass, it links Leh and Srinagar. Leh and Srinagar. Jojila Pass. It is known as mountain pass of blizzards. Okay, Jojila Tunnel is there. That is the Asia's longest strategic point tunnel, right? Jojila Tunnel. So one only option is the right option. Then border road organization. Which of the following statements about border road organization is correct? BRO is concerned the construction of maintenance of roads in strategically sensitive areas. Strategically sensitive areas like border areas. BRO undertakes snow clearance of high altitude areas. Or snow clearance in high altitude areas. Initially, BRO under Ministry of Defence. Recently, it has been transferred to road transport highways. This is wrong. Initially, it was in road transport highways. Now, it has from since 2015. It got transferred to Ministry of Defence. Okay. So, presently, it is at Ministry of Defence. It undertakes snow clearance in high altitude areas. So, 1 and 2 options will be right. Atal Vayu Abhyuday Yojana. Atal Vayu Abhyuday Yojana. Nice. It is the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment is the nodal ministry to implement the centrally sponsored scheme. No, this is wrong. Atal Vayu, although it is Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, but this is not centrally sponsored scheme. It is a centrally sectored scheme. Centrally sectored scheme means 100% the contribution is given by central government. The main objective of scheme is to improve the quality of life of senior citizens. Yes. Providing basic amenities. So 2 only is the correct answer. With reference to low temperature thermal desalination (LTTD), consider the following statements. The technique uses cold water from ocean depths to produce fresh water from vapor. Low temperature thermal desalination. Just a second. Consider the following statements for Atal Jyoti Yojana. Right? Atal Jyoti Yojana, which of the following statements are correct? First is the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy launched Atal Jyoti Yojana. To illuminate dark regions through establishment of solar street lights. Atal Jyoti Yojana for solar street lights. Okay. It is, yes. MNRE provides, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, MNRE, it provides 75% of the cost of street lights, remaining 25% comes from the World Bank in support. So, which is the following statement? Not correct. It is either which is not correct. Not correct is, first statement is correct. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, it has started. It has started the Atal Jyoti Yojana. It is especially now focusing on 5 states. Right, 5 states. It is a scheme of government of India. So there is no contribution from World Bank. 75% cost will be given by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and 25% will come from the Member of Parliament Local Area Development Funds (MPLADs) and Panchayat funds or municipalities or local bodies funds. So there is no contribution from the World Bank. So second statement is wrong. Which is not correct? Not correct is it is correct. First is correct. So not correct is B. Only is the not correct option. Now, with reference to low temperature thermal distillation, consider the following statements. The technique uses cold water from ocean depths to produce fresh water from vapor. It do not use cold water, actually it is wrong. It uses warm water from the surface sea water that is evaporated at low pressure and vapor, then it is condensed with the cold deep sea water. So it do not use cold water, it uses warm water. So first statement is wrong. LD technology requires chemical pre and post LD requires chemical pre and post treatment of seawater. Actually it does not prepare, so this is also wrong. It does not prepare any pre or post treatment of seawater. It does not require any chemical treatment seawater. So there is no pollution problem. It is minimum. The disadvantage of this technology, it is only desalinate ocean water but not able to decontaminate it. Not able to decontaminate it. So which of the following statements are correct? So 1 and 2 are only 3 is correct, but that is 1% not in the option. So it is wrong. Okay. National Institute of Ocean Technology is an institute. National Institute of Ocean Technology is an institute of Ministry of Earth Science. With reference to Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority (PFRDA), consider the following statements. PFRDA, it works under Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance, provides the pensions to the government employees. It regulates National Pension System (NPS), subscribed by the employees, private institution, organizational or organized sector. So both of A and C are correct. Mission Sahabhagita is often mentioned in the news. Mission Sahabhagita, it is related to wetlands of international importance. Wetlands of international and international importance, especially the Ramsar wetlands. Okay, we have now 75 Ramsar wetland, 79 Ramsar wetlands. So by mission Sahabhagita, we can ensure participatory approach in the wetland conservation, especially by the use of local communities will ensure wetland conservation. In which of the following states India's only wild earth sanctuary is located? Wild earth sanctuary is located. It is in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, or Madhya Pradesh. Only wild earth sanctuary it is located in Gujarat, state of Gujarat. Wild earth, Gir Forest. So B is the answer. So discussion is over now, and like this video, share and subscribe to VANIK-IAS. Thank you.